Hi viewers. Today I am going to teach you a poem, a feminist poem, an introduction by Kamala Das. Kamala Das was an eminent Indian English poet as well as leading Malayalam author from Kerala. She is popularly known by her pen name Madhavi. Kamala Das was born on March 31, 1934 and died in May 31, 2009. Her poetry collection includes Summer in Calcutta, published in 1965, The Descendants, published in 1967, The Old Playhouse and Other Poems, it was published in 1973, and Only the Soul Knows How to Sing, published in 1966. She also wrote two short stories like A Doll for the Child Prostitute. It was published in 1977. Padmavati, The Heralds and Other Stories. It was published in 1992. And she also wrote two novels, Alphabet of Lust 1976 and Palayana. It was published in 1990. And her famous autobiography, My Story, is an autobiography by Kamala Das, published in 1976. It was originally written in Malayalam as Entakatha. Her popularity in Kerala is based chiefly on her short stories and autobiography. She was greatly influenced by her uncle Nalapat Narayan Menon. Most of her works were published under her pen name Madhavi Kuti. The poem An Introduction is an autobiographical verse of Kamala Das that throws on the life of women in patriarchal society. This is a confessional poem where the poet randomly confessing the things and also questioning the readers. It was taken from her poetry collection, Summer in Calcutta, and I have divided the poem in 5 parts because for better understanding. First one is Men as the ruler of country, women are too individual, poets struggling for freedom, her miserable married life, her struggling for the status of I. One more important thing is that it is also a feminist poem, as I told you, because it promotes the principle of feminism. It speaks for the assertion of womanliness and equal rights to women. Now I read out the poem line by line and explain accordingly. I don't know politics, but I know the names of those in power and can repeat them like days of weeks or names of months beginning with Nehru. The poet start explaining by saying that she doesn't know politics at she is well aware of politicians of her country from Nehru of her own time. And as the politics of India has always remained in favor hands of males, the line depicts men as the ruler of country and how males have been ruling the country without giving these rights to the women. Moreover, the rulers of fewer in numbers of because democracy existed only in words. In reality, the rule of country remains the hands of some people only who have assumed themselves to be an permanent ruler. I am Indian, very brown, born in Malabar. I speak 3 languages, write in 2, dream in 1. Now the poet comes towards her own life experience. She says that she is an Indian, brown in color. She is born in Malabar. She can speak three languages, write in two, and dream in one. And dream have a universal language. In these lines, she explains her Indianness. Like most of the citizens of India, she also capable to speak three languages and write into probably the English and her native language. She says that she can speak three languages and is also capable to write into. In addition, is also dream of any man in the world. She probably compares herself to the men of the world, trying to show that she is not lesser to him. She opposes all those qualities and abilities that makes him superior. Hence, though she is a woman, she is no lesser than him in terms of ability, fashion, and creativeness. Moreover, in the world of dreams, she is equal and individual as a man, so she wants this status in the real world as well. These lines depicts women are too individual. Don't write in English, they said. English is not your mother tongue. Why not let me alone? Critics, friends, visiting cousins, every one of you, why not let me speak in any language I like? Being familiar with English, she uses this language in her writings. However, this habit of her is not liked by her friends, relatives, and critics. They all condemned her for writing in English as, according to them, English is language of colonists. She asked them why they criticize her, why she is not given liberty to write in whatever language she desires. In these lines, she exposes jealous nature of her near and dear friends who cannot endure her skills. This makes them criticize her, having no logical reason to put restrictions on her writings in English. They try to tell her that the English language she writes in is a language of colonists and thus she should avoid using it. However, she asked them how language can owned by a particular society. It belongs to every person who uses it and thus she should not be stopped from using it. The language I speak becomes mine, its distortions, its querynesses, all mine, mine alone. It is half English, half Indian, funny perhaps, but it is honest. It is as human as I am human, don't you see? The language in which she writes is her own alone with all its imperfections and strangeness. The language is though not fully English, yet she considers it to be honest because like her as her language is also imperfect, like her which a quite normal thing is. In these lines, she shows her ownership of English and also the freedom of using it. She is imperfect, but this makes her a human. Thus, she should not be scolded for her mistakes, for shortcomings, but she wonders why society ignores the mistakes or even blunders of men and questions the mistakes of women, although the fact is that every person in the world is imperfect. These lines depicts poets struggling for freedom. It voices my joys, my longings, my hopes, and it is useful to me as cowing is to crows, or roaring is to lions. It is human speech, the speech of mind that is here and not there. A mind that sees and hears and is aware, not the deep blind speech of trees in storm, or of monsoon clouds, or of rain, or the incoherent muttering of the blazing funeral pyre. The language expresses our joys, griefs, and hopes. For he, it is like cowing is to crows and roaring is to lions. It is an integral part of her expressions. She further says that her speech is the speech of humans, that minds can understand and not strange and queer, like the sound of trees in the storm, or the monsoon clouds, or of rain, or of dead as this wise cannot be understood. I was a child, and later they told me I grew up, for I became tall, my limbs swelled, and one or two places sprouted hair. When I asked for love, not knowing what else to ask for, he drove a youth of 16 into the bedroom and closed the door. Now the poet moves towards her married life. She was a child. Although the size of her body grew up, she entered the stage of puberty, yet her soul was immature. Here, the poet describes not only her married life but also tried to narrate the story of every woman in her country. Her griefs and sorrows are the griefs and sorrows of every woman of her country. The young girl in her country are forced to marry old men without having their consent. The girl, after being married, desires that her husband should shows compassion to her and her love her, but instead she is draws to the bed and made to endure the pains of sex that she is not willing to do. These lines depicts her miserable married life. He did not beat me, but my sad woman body felt so beaten. The weight of my beats and worms crushed me. I shrank pitifully. In these lines, she says that she was not beaten by him, yet her womanly body felt to be beaten and wounded. Thus, she got tired of it. His genital seems to her as some burdens that have crushed her. She started hating her female body because it is her body that has given her so much pain. Then I wore a shirt and my brother's trousers, cut my hairs short, and ignored my womanliness. Dressed in saris, be a girl, be a wife, they said, be embroiderers, be a cook, be a quarreler with servants, fit in hoe, be long, carried the categorizer, don't sit on walls or peeps in though our lace dropped windows. Be aim or be a Kamala, or better still be a Madhavakuti. It is time to choose a name, a role. Don't play pretending the games. Don't play at schizophrenia or be a nepo. Don't cry. Embracingly loud when jilted in love. Now she tries to become a tomboy by adopting the attires of males, but it was not led by her in-laws. They started taunting her. She was commanded to dress in saris, be a girl, be a wife, embroiderers, cook, quarreler with servants, act. She was asked not to hide her real self. Her in-laws even condemned to remain silent and endure her unachieved love. The lines exposes the condition of woman in the house of her in-laws. She is forced to give up her frankness and attain the nature of daughter-in-law. She is forced to do everything that her daughter-in-law desires to do. She has to accomplish all those tasks, though she is not willing to do so. Still, she is taunted, scolded, as well as abused. She is even advised not to express her grief if she is troubled by her married life. I met a man, loved him, call him not by any name. He is every man who wants, just as I am every woman who seeks loves. In him the hungry haste of rivers, in me the ocean tireless waiting. Who are you? I ask each and every one. The answer is, it is I. Anywhere and everywhere I see the one who calls himself I. In this world, he is tightly packed like the sword in its sheath. It is I who drink lonely drinks at 12 midnight in hotels of strange towns. It is I who laugh. It is I who makes love and then feels shame. It is I who lies dying with a rattle in my throat. In these lines, the poet meets a man. The man is, according to her, the every man who desires a woman as a woman desires loves from a man. When she asks him about his identity, his answer is I. This I, or the male ego, gives him the liberty to do whatever he likes. He can drink at midnight, love, and safety his lust. However, he feels ashamed after losing a woman due to his own shortcomings, and also this ego of I dies when the person dies, and thus his end is no different than the end of the woman. I am I am sinner, I am saint, I am the beloved and the betrayed. I have no joys that are not yours, no edges which are not yours. I too call myself I. Here, the poet, like him, she can also attribute the title of I to herself. Like men, she also sinner and saint, beloved and betrayed. Her joys and pains are not different than those of men. Hence, she emancipates herself to the level of I. These lines depicts the her struggling for the status of I. This was the explanation. I have given you line by line explanation since it is in simple language, and I have concentrated on the inner meaning of the poem more. Hope you have understood the poem. If you have any doubts or questions, please let me know in the comment section below. I'll try to answer. Please read this poem and enjoy. I'm sure that it is a feminist poem ever written in Indian writings in English. And thank you for watching this video. Please subscribe the channel.